Good Friday morning, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Joseph Peterson, and let's go in and talk about the weather for your Friday. Starting off, what is going on right now in terms of the entire state of South Carolina? Well, right now it looks nice and dry. No rainfall is currently going on, and we look nice and dry. But if we scroll our way out, throughout the entire U.S., we do have some rainfall going on throughout Ohio, West Virginia getting in on some storms, Indiana getting in on some severe storms as well, and then the same thing with Illinois getting in on some flash flooding, Iowa flash flooding, and then even New Mexico moving over into California. We have some rainfall moving throughout these areas. Move up into the Dakotas, Montana, Idaho, Oregon, all of these areas receiving rainfall. Now, in terms of cloud cover right now seems to be going on no matter where you really are throughout the state. You're going to see that cloud cover from the upstate to the coastal areas, and it looks like that it's mainly in that eastern part of the state throughout the Midlands and the PD areas. Now, what about for that cloud cover for the future? You want to push this forward all the way through into later on this morning, going into this afternoon, and cloud cover activity continues to push its way down over towards the south, and it continues to push down south, but overall not really completely taking over the state. Even as you get to around 12 o'clock in the morning, you continue to see cloud cover kind of moving its way down, but we don't really get too cloudy to the point to where everybody's covered with clouds at this point. So we'll see if that happens, but right now it's looking like that's just going to be mostly cloudy for some, maybe just partly cloudy for others. Now, in terms of current temperatures, we're talking about 78 in Somerville, 79 Charleston, and 79 in Beaufort, 80 Hilton Head Island, and 79 in Georgetown, 80 in Myrtle Beach, and 78 in Orangeburg, not 79 inside of Conway, 80 Columbia, and 77 in Rock Hill, York, and even 78 inside of Greenville as well. Now, what about for our air quality? Well, for our air quality, we're looking pretty good. We have a good area for pretty much a good amount of us. But if you're in the yellow, that's a moderate risk. That is a moderate risk of air quality. If you're in the yellow, watch for that air quality for today from the areas of the low country up into the CSRA and then up also to the upstate and even up there near Florence, down I-95 towards like Manning, where there is a moderate risk of air quality down for those areas. Everybody else, good. Not watching for any sort of air quality other than that. Now, high temperatures for today, we're talking about 97 in Greenville, 98 Columbia, 97 in Orangeburg, and 98 in Sumter, 97 Moncks Corner and Walterboro, 94 in Charleston and Georgetown, 92 Myrtle Beach, and 95 in Hilton Head Island. And then if we go in and take a look at our heat index values for today, it's going to be hot. No matter where you are, it's going to be hot. Heat index values, kind of lowering out at around like 104 right now, 103 maybe. So most of us are going to be around 103 plus. Some of us may even get close to 115. Some of us may reach 115 degrees today in terms of heat index values. We just have to watch and see what happens here. But a lot of extreme heat warnings out. A lot of heat advisories are out today. So make sure that you are please paying attention. Make sure that if you are outside, that you probably should be outside now because it's like 8 o'clock in the morning and not like 2 o'clock p.m. if you have to go outside and work and do some stuff. And then also make sure that you also go on and, check on family, friends, neighbors, pets, plants, and just obviously yourself. Now, in terms of winds for today, honestly, look around 2 miles an hour, maybe even close to around 10 miles per hour or so. And then if you look near the coastal areas, you're around 10 to 15 miles per hour or so for when it comes to wind gust. When it comes to wind, not wind gust here. And if you want to take a look at wind gust, you're going to be from around 5 miles an hour all the way up to around 20 miles per hour or so. Now, if we go in and take a look at rainfall, 100th of an inch to a tenth of an inch for areas like Walterboro, Moncks Corner, going into Georgetown, and also Anderson. And then some areas may even see around a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch, and other areas may even be to around a quarter of an inch to a half an inch. So it definitely is possible that we could see, a good amount of rainfall kind of falling even without storm activity. Because remember, this whole forecast here from the National Weather Service is not really focused on flash flooding and thunderstorms that can produce torrential downpours. We're really just looking at that forecasted rainfall in general. So a lot of areas may not see rainfall today. A lot of it, more areas on the map may. Really just, determines on what happens because summer is, summer activity, summer thunderstorms just are really hard to predict exactly where they're going to go to. Now for the crazy score, right now we're at a 32. We have 28 points on the alert score, 4 on the conditions. Heat advisories, extreme heat warnings are out, so that's the reason why we're kind of looking at this risk right here and kind of staying in the moderate category for today. Now, it probably will get higher, especially once we get more storm activity, but for right now, 32. SPC outlook for today, thunderstorms are definitely expected today. Doesn't matter where you are, you have a chance for a thunderstorm today. And, always watch for it to be severe. We saw it happen yesterday. There was no risk of severe weather for yesterday, and we had a couple of severe storms move in. Same thing with excessive rainfall. I see excessive rainfall is really only possible up there in the upstate. We have a marginal risk for Greenville going over into areas like Anderson and Gaffney, maybe somewhere near Spartanburg as well, Boiling Springs. Those areas have a 5% risk of flash flooding. And if you're in the yellow, that's Salem, that's Sunset, that's Nine Times, that's Pumpkin Town, that's Cleveland, South Carolina. That is a 15% risk of flash flooding as you move over into today. So if you're in the yellow, make sure that you are paying attention for that. Make sure that you are paying attention for that. Now, as we go over into the actual models themselves, because you can see 5% risk in the green in terms of flash flooding, 15% in the yellow for when it comes to flash flooding. So, what does that mean in terms of the actual models? How much rainfall could we potentially receive? Well, let me go ahead and pull that up right now, and it is up actually. So we're going to start off here at 8 o'clock in the morning. And just as we push this forward, you're not seeing much rainfall. Here we are 1 p.m., but then finally we get to 2 p.m., and showers and storms seem to start to form up there in the upstate, and they actually start to spread out a little bit from 4 p.m. onward. And we see that there's a good amount of shower and storm activity. That could definitely be the reason why we have that risk of scattered flash flooding up there in the upstate. Because as you push it forward even more, it's there all the way through 6 p.m., all the way maybe even to 7 to 8 p.m. Now, as you move all the way to around 6 o'clock to around 8 o'clock, those showers start to move down towards the south, go through the Midlands, and then as you go all the way to around 12 o'clock in the morning, the CSRA areas are still continuing to kind of just produce thunderstorm activity over there in those areas. So that's kind of what we're looking at for when it does come to rainfall for today, going into tonight. And then finally, for the National Hurricane Center, here, because honestly, for when it does come to totals, the totals for the past map that we just saw, I saw a couple of areas around an inch or so, but not too much higher than that, maybe 1.5, 1.6 or so for when it came to precipitation totals on that map. And all of it was mainly in the upstate. Everything else, maybe an inch in the Midlands or so. And that's why most of that rainfall, you don't really see too much going down towards the low country and the Grand Strand areas, just because not really a risk there. But it's summer, so that means that, we could see a shower or storm down there in the low country. It said that thunderstorms were possible. So let's go and talk about the tropics just real quick. Disturbance 1, this thing right here that had like a almost, I'm pretty sure this thing had like a red, like an 80% chance to form. But I get it didn't form quickly enough, and now the system is moving into a region of increasing upper level winds and dry air. The potential for development continues to decrease, even though development is unlikely. Gusty winds and areas of heavy rain are possible across portions of the Lesser Antilles tonight and on Saturday. So this thing had like an 80% chance to form, and now not even there anymore. Not even there. This is Invest 92. And then the orange area, Invest 94, this has a 50% chance of forming over the next 7 days and a 30% over the next 48 hours. A tropical wave over the central tropical Atlantic, located more than 1,000 miles west of the Cabo Verde Island, continues to produce disorganized shower and storm activity. Environmental conditions are forecast to become generally conducive for gradual development, and a tropical depression could form this weekend or early next week. So we're watching for this orange area as well to see what could potentially happen here. And, we're not going to go over into increased depth of what's going to happen here just because it is a morning, and, we don't talk about the tropics much in the morning, just like a little overview of what's going on. And right now, no threat to South Carolina, but make sure that your hurricane plans are in place just in case if worse does come to worse. But that's all I have to say here for today. For right now, like I said, nothing going on. We are nice and dry over here inside of the state, and hopefully, for the most part, we get some rainfall for a lot of those drought areas later on today. But that's all. I'll be back tonight, hopefully. I'm looking at it now. I think you just had something planned for tonight, so we'll see. But I should hopefully be back tonight if everything does go to plan. I may just be like a couple of minutes late at the max. Should be, like I said, unless something goes wrong. But for right now, still on for tonight. Maybe just a little bit later. But that's about it. I'll be back tonight, hopefully somewhere near 8 o'clock p.m., maybe around 8:10 or so, for your Friday evening forecast update. Make sure that you're there for that. Let's just get through today, and we will be at the weekend. Hit those two buttons before you leave if you're new.